I'm an extremely fast learner. You show me something in a lab once, and I've got it down, right? That is such an iconic, powerful line from Julia Roberts in the movie Erin Brockovich. I mean, talk about absolute confidence. But, it brings up a really great question for us. In everyday English conversation, how do you naturally express that you've truly mastered a skill? Like when you've put in the hours, done the hard work, and you finally nailed it, how do you say that without sounding like you're just, bragging? Well, welcome to today's explainer. We're going to figure exactly that out.
So our main goal today is decoding one of the absolute best, most natural phrases in English for expressing skill mastery, and that is, I've got it down. When you use this phrase, you're essentially signaling to people that you are incredibly reliable and that you've put in the hard work to learn something new. For anyone looking to level up their English skills, grasping these little conversational nuances and really understanding the importance of practice behind them is just a massive game changer. By the end of this explainer, you're going to know exactly how to talk about your own talents and skills smoothly and confidently.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Here is our roadmap for today. Number 1, confidence in English skills. Number 2, the power of practice. Number 3, navigating the stages of skill mastery. And finally, number 4, connecting through modesty.
All right, moving right along to our first segment. Confidence in English skills, expressing your talent.
So let's look at the phrase, I've got it down. Linguistically speaking, it means you know exactly how to do something well. You are fully confident in your skills, and you've mastered the task through sheer practice. Using this at work or, just hanging out with friends is a fantastic way to project reliability. You're basically telling them, hey, I've practiced this a ton, you can totally count on me. It's not just about having some rare innate talent. It's actual proof of your conscious effort and training. It means you don't need anyone holding your hand anymore. You can do it perfectly on your own.
Now, what's really interesting about this next slide is how we actually get to that point. So let's talk about the power of practice, from awkward to masterful.
Okay, so here's a brilliantly relatable example. Will you ever truly master IKEA furniture? Seriously, think about it. Sometimes in life, things are just so counterintuitive at first. You open that first dresser box and the instructions literally look like they're written in an alien language. But when you finally say, I've got it down, it means you've built like 3 or 4 beds and dressers. You've put in that endless repetitive practice, and you finally understand their whole system. To go from total confusion to complete competence requires serious repetition. Though, let's be real, if you order from a totally different furniture company, you might be starting completely from scratch again.
Let's walk through some vivid, everyday role-play scenarios where you can confidently throw out, and I've got it down. Let's say a coworker is trying to show you the ropes on a really complicated new app or piece of software. But, you've already spent hours figuring it out. You can just smile and say, no thanks, I've got it down. Or what about cooking? If a dinner guest says, wow, this looks like a ridiculously difficult recipe, you can tell them, oh, don't worry, I've made this a million times. I've got it down. It works perfectly for rehearsing a piece of music, too. You practice until the anxiety vanishes, and you play it flawlessly. That is the essence of having it down.
Let's move on to navigating the stages of skill mastery, a progression. Because learning a language, or any skill really, is absolutely a journey. And this brilliantly illustrates that exact timeline. It's a progression in 4 distinct steps. Step 1 is trying a weird new skill, where you're just totally clueless. Step 2 is when you understand the basic mechanics, so you say you've got the hang of it. Step 3 is what we're talking about today, got it down, representing that true confidence and mastery. And finally, step 4 is when the skill becomes second nature, meaning it's literally in your bones. Understanding this arc helps you pinpoint exactly where you are in your practice journey so you can pick the perfect English phrase for your current level.
Now, I really want to contrast those middle stages because the nuance is super important. What's the difference between got the hang of it and got it down? Well, you use got the hang of it for early success. Think of physical or technical manipulation, like figuring out a complex espresso machine for the first time, or if you're traveling and driving a rental car on the left side of the road instead of the right. It feels super weird at first, but you observe, you figure out the mechanics, and you get the hang of it. Got it down, on the other hand, implies a much deeper, more confident mastery that only comes from deep, long-term practice.
And that brings us to the ultimate destination of your practice journey, second nature. This means a skill has been practiced so incredibly thoroughly that you literally don't even have to think about it anymore. It comes completely naturally. It transitions from a conscious checklist of steps in your head into a totally unconscious automatic reflex. It's practically in your bones at this point. To really ground this concept, let's look at some specific examples of second nature. Imagine downhill skiing since you were 3 years old. By the time you're an adult, your body just knows what to do, right? Or think of a musician playing a concert who never once glances at the sheet music. Their hands just move on their own. And a huge one, especially for language learners, switching fluently between, say, Spanish and English. True bilingualism means your vocabulary recall is automatic. It takes intense, rigorous practice to get there, but eventually, the communication becomes totally effortless.
Okay, let's head into our final segment, connecting through modesty, accepting compliments.
So the crucial point here is how you react when somebody actually praises your skills. If someone says, "Wow, you are so good at this," and you reply with, "I know, I'm amazing at this," well, that comes off as awkwardly bragging, right? It's a bit of a conversation killer. But if you use a phrase like, "Thanks, yeah, I finally got the hang of it," or "I've got it down," you're creating a modest connection. You're showing humility by acknowledging the hard work in the long process of learning. Instead of claiming you're just naturally superior, you're validating the time, the struggle, and the mistakes it took to get there. It makes gracefully accepting a compliment so much easier.
So, to wrap up our explainer today, I want to leave you with a question. What is a skill that you finally got down? Take a second and really reflect on your own practice journey. What's something you've relentlessly worked at, and now you execute it with absolute confidence? Once you identify that, the next time someone asks you about it, you'll know exactly which conversational English phrase to use. Thanks so much for joining us. Keep practicing those English skills, and we will see you next time.
Got it! What's up? Catch up! Aha!